Yo, what's up, Raider Nation?
What's good, Nation?
Salud. Hi, this is Raiders Fan Radio. Actually, it's not. This is
No, it's not.
This is RFR is Trippin.
We tripping, man.
We tripping.
Absolutely.
Jeff and I are out tripping today, and so we didn't get to do a show this week. So we wanted to talk to you guys and post this up. We're actually what are we doing? We're on our way to Nashville.
We're on our way to Nashville right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Friday, Friday afternoon.
Friday,
so
yeah.
Work day is done.
Workday's done.
And we are, we're just going to kick it in Nashville for just a little bit and all that before the weekend. So, why not? Why not jump on?
Why not jump on? Just a lot going on. So, first off, appreciate you checking in with us at youtube.com/RaidersFanRadio. If you like audio podcasts, definitely check our audio podcast out as well, please. You can find that on any audio podcast service just by searching for Raiders Fan Radio. All right, so we didn't do a show this week.
Right. And thank goodness.
Because, listen, there's been a lot of emotion going on amongst Raider Nation, us included.
Sure.
We're not absolved of that. We are
Sure.
irrational Raider fans, just like you are. And if you're watching us, you are definitely an irrational Raider fan. If you take time out of your day to watch a couple of dopes drive around in their car with coffee and talk about their football team.
Yeah. The real MVPs. That's what we call them. Is that the type of the kids say?
That's what the kids say. Yeah. So if you hitting the button, if you hitting that thumbs up, thank you very much, because you are definitely in for this nonsense that we do. But anyways, all that said, so there's a lot that went on. So let's start at the top and kind of work our way back. Okay, start in the back and work our way up to
here at the top of the show.
Here at the top of the show. Okay, so I've been catching a lot of heat on Twitter, and I don't mean heat like although there is a lot of negativity. I mean heat like activity, right? There's just been a lot of activity, and what spurred that, a lot of it was I've been taking out clips of our show, and trying to keep them within context as much as possible, but you can only upload 2 minutes of it, and put those up here on or take them from our show and then put them on the Twitter.
Sure,
okay?
yeah.
One of the things that I did after the benching of Derek Carr and his, whether he was told not to come by, which I don't believe he was, or he took it upon himself to go to the house.
Yeah.
One way or the other, my sentiment was, we're done talking about the guy. I'm not interested in him anymore.
Right.
Well, and here we are talking about Derek, but I'm talking about it because this new shit has come to light.
That's right.
A lot of the responses, it's 80% of the people that responded to that post got the idea, the sentiment. The sentiment was it's time for us to move forward.
Yeah. Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not. As a fan base, it's time for us to move on. And so it's not about being dismissive of the fact that he was a Raider for 9 years. It's not being dismissive and saying, once a Raider, always a Raider doesn't apply, Murf. Of course it still applies. That concept is not lost on me. The idea is that when he's a Jet or a Colt or a Saint or a Panther or wherever the hell he ends up, I'm not rooting for him anymore.
Right.
Because he don't have this on his helmet.
Right.
So I don't care. Do I wish him ill will? No. I'm thankful for his time with the Raiders. And when he's done playing, we can celebrate his career with the Raiders. That once a Raider, always a Raider isn't for when you're actively playing. Ain't no Raider fans were rooting for Marcus Allen in a Chiefs uniform.
Right.
Ain't nobody right now rooting for Khalil Mack. And if you are, then I question
your fandom, period.
Well, I'm not going to tell you how to fan your fandom, but it's a weird kind of thing. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to agree, because I want Khalil Mack and the Chargers to get dumped out of the first round of the playoffs like the punks and the frauds that they are, okay? So that's what I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with dismissing Derek and not acknowledging his Raider career and his dedication to the team. Has nothing to do with that.
Absolutely. Well, yes, when a player is active that used to be a Raider, it's the same. Look at the love fest I had for 2 years with Marcus Mariota.
Oh, yeah.
And when he left the Raiders, I'm done.
You're done.
It's done.
I
haven't wore the Mariota jersey since, and it's over. But, it's same with Derek Carr. So Derek Carr has been my favorite quarterback since I joined Raider Nation. And, and love everything that he, contributed to the team, the loyalty that he had to the team, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, when he's not going to wear the shield, I'm not going to root for you until you retire. When you retire and you come back to the alumni things, or you
light the torch, I'll stand up and clap for him too.
And the Raiders will do all of those things. They're going to hook him up. They're going to respect him, honor him, all that stuff. So until then, he's not my guy anymore, And so, I respect everything that Derek did, both on and off the field, for the most part. I don't respect the fumbles out of the end zone and stuff like that. But overall,
throwing short of the goal line on fourth down in your playoff game. Yeah.
I saw a lot of people on Twitter. One of those posts that you said, he epitomized what it meant to be a Raider more than anyone in the team history or whatever. I'm like, easy with that, okay? I mean, let's not forget Charles Woodson. Let's not forget Willie Brown. Let's not forget all these other people, Gene
Upshaw, Kenny
Stabler, all those people, Howie Long, all that. I mean, there's a million other people. And so, yes, he was one of those people that exemplified and carried himself as a Raider to the highest, level. But he wants to go play somewhere else now. You see the post that he does, his goodbye thing. Well, you didn't get to see it, but he posted a thing saying his goodbye and all that stuff, and I'm sure everyone that's watched the show has seen it by now. And the first line of it is, "I wish I could have said goodbye to you in person." And my take on that was, well, you could have had, because the team cannot ban you from doing whatever. I mean, what happened in that closed door meeting, whether it been with Mark, Josh McDaniels, Ziegler, and Derek. I assume that those were probably the people involved. Probably not Mark. I don't imagine that he was probably there for that.
I wouldn't think so. Yeah.
And it may have just been him and Josh. And if that's the case, that's totally fine. And I don't know what happened in that meeting. Maybe they both came to the agreement that he would do whatever. But, the story has come out that he didn't want to be a distraction to the team, and so he bounced. But I look at that kind of a little bit the opposite way. You look at that and you go, well, man, it sure would be nice for, Carr to have a headset on coaching Stidham these last 2 games. Your loyalty to the Raiders, be loyal to the Raiders. Don't go to the house, and let your brother fight your battles for you. But that's a whole different story. I don't know, man. I love Derek Carr, and I will love him again when his career is over. But until then, Jarrett Stidham's my guy until they get another guy, which they will.
Until it's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Until it's... Hey, I'm going to tell you what, man. I'm going to tell you, and I don't know when we'll talk about this again, probably next week. But I'm telling you, Tom Brady's going to be here.
Oh, well, the only thing I would say, pump the brakes on that, and then I want to get back into some more stuff on Carr.
Yeah.
The only reason I pump the brakes on Brady is because the season's not over yet. He's still playing. He's going to play on Monday night and beat the damn Cowboys. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves on that, but I think that the planets are definitely aligning for somebody that's familiar with that system to be a bridge quarterback, and what better guy to do it than Tom Brady right now, Yeah. So anyways, but okay, we'll get back to that though.
Yeah, back to Derek.
Okay? And this is, I hope that this will put a pin in it. I hope that after this little video that we're doing today, this kind of because I really don't want to talk about it anymore. It wasn't about it's not about clicks or views, and a lot of people that floated that out there too. We don't do anything for clicks or views. We're small time, man. We don't. If that were the case, you would hear a different tone from us. But I think people also too can, with Twitter, it's such a small snippet of things. When you have an opportunity to follow us and listen to what we have to talk about on the regular, you kind of see that we're not not clickbaity kind of guys.
No. If we wanted to be, we would just buy views. We would just buy views like some people.
There's somebody else. There's somebody else to add to our list of whatever. All right.
Shit list.
So, a lot of the response and a lot of the back and forth, and it's not just with us, but obviously there's a lot of this going on within Raider Nation. And first and foremost, I'll just say this. We all want the same thing. It's kind of like Republicans and Democrats. We're all rooting for the U.S. We all want the same thing.
We're on the same team.
We just have different viewpoints on how to get there. Well, that's the same thing with the stands and then the haters, right? But we're gray area. We're going to celebrate Derek for what Derek was, but then also move on from it and also acknowledge the times when it wasn't great.
Right.
As much as I love his pass to Michael Crabtree in the front corner of the end zone. Sorry, that's my phone ringing. as much as I love that pass, I also hate the one that I saw him throw to Marcus Peters, and Marcus Peters grabbed his junk going into the end zone the last time I ever sat in the black hole in Oakland. So, like, I can recognize both things, and one was great and one sucked.
Right.
So it doesn't define him one way or the other, though. Neither one of those defines him. So those that are deifying him and making him into this, like, God, that's the part that I don't understand. He was the best ever. I saw a post from a journalist that says, no one in sports will ever have the leadership exemplified that Derek Carr did last year. Now, did Derek Carr do an incredible job being a leader of the Raiders on the field in 2022 or 21? 100% yes. Yeah. I think he was wonderful, and amongst the leadership of not only him, but of course Rich Bisaccia. Heck, you even got to give Mark Davis some credit for leading through that. So there was a lot of wonderful leadership stories that came out of that. But to say it was the greatest ever, or we'll never see another one like it in sports, come on, man. That's the stuff. It almost, Jeff, it makes me want to overswing. It almost makes me want to push back harder on those that are making those kinds of statements,
right?
Because it's so over the top. And so if you're deifying what Derek Carr was, I would encourage you to consider that there's gray area in this thing. You can acknowledge the things that he did great, but it doesn't make him the greatest ever. It doesn't make, because he's got wonderful stats, doesn't mean he gets to sit on the same Mount Rushmore as Kenny Stabler, Darryl LaMonica, Jim Plunkett, and/or Blanda, or even Rich Gannon.
Right.
And when I floated that theory out there about where he would actually have his place, and I had a little bit of extra mustard behind my spirit of the post about where Derek fit into the lexicon of great Raider quarterbacks, because I was feeling a certain way after reading all these deity posts. So I floated it out there. Well, you know what happened? Derek Carr blocked me. I didn't say anything ill about him as a person, never would, never have been, and always had nothing but respect for his playing career with the Raiders. But he didn't like that I questioned where he might fit in the scope of Raider great quarterbacks, and I got blocked.
Yeah.
It's that, to me, is insanity, Raider Nation. Maybe you, and if you have a different take, comment on this damn post, because we're not sitting here talking at you, wanting to be right about everything. It ain't about that, and we're willing to hear and engage and debate. And as Mosh always says, it's the highest form of education is to have debate. But does that sound reasonable to you? Because it didn't feel reasonable to me.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, there was no reason for him to block you, and I think that's bananas and crazy, and I don't know. I feel some kind of way about that. Like I said last week, don't mess with my people. My guy didn't do anything to you. Don't block him. What are you doing? That's kind of, I don't know, kind of silly and childish, in my opinion. But anyway, back to what you're saying about, him being the greatest leader that, in any sport, whatever. I mean, and we'll just keep it towards the Raiders, whatever. Derek was a great leader in 2021. 100%. 100%. Yeah. And he's been a great leader for his entire career with the Oakland/Las Vegas Raiders.
Absolutely.
We'll never question that. But it's not so much, it's really hard to compare leadership. It's just different. It's just different. Kenny Stabler was a really good leader in his way. Jim Plunkett, Fred Biletnikoff, Howie Long,
Willie Brown,
Matt Millen.
Willie Brown and Gene Upshaw, to me, that's your, Willie Brown was a leader for the Raiders until the day he died.
Right.
Let alone when he was on the field.
Absolutely. So you look at all those things, and it's hard to say he was the best leader, because he was a really good leader. But it's just different styles and, all that kind of stuff. So, now that he's gone, now it gives someone else a really good opportunity. Who's going to step up and fill that void?
I think Max Crosby.
Max Crosby's the guy.
I think that's the guy.
I think Max is the guy. I think Devontae will step up. And, of course him. And, but Josh Jacobs. He came a really long way, and whether or not his words before the game after the presser after the Steelers game, he was fed up. He was done, and the Raiders made a change. They did something different. You know, so,
That's
say
true.
what you will about that, but that guy's a big voice as well. You know, I mean, obviously, Deron Harmon's another big guy. So,
well, and depending on who the quarterback is, too. You
Well,
bring Tom Brady or
exactly.
Aaron Rodgers in, instantly,
immediately, there's your leader.
Yeah.
So, but, and then I saw a bunch of people on that post as well talking about, well, he's the best quarterback that the Raiders have ever had. Just look at the stats. And, and I can't remember who it was. Someone was comparing Derek Carr to Plunkett.
Yeah.
I said, well, what's Plunkett's stats? And you said, yeah, here's a stat for you. I've seen it. It looks just fine. And it's the MVP trophy for Super Bowl 15.
Yeah.
So, easy with that best quarterback ever stuff.
Well, and
top 5 or 6, hands down, no question.
Absolutely. And here's the thing is that, and this is what I'm talking about. Does Derek Carr, is he undisputably the greatest statistical leading quarterback in the history of the Raiders? Yes.
Totally.
Ain't nobody disputing that. He is number 1 at the top of the list, and it's well deserved.
Right.
He played a long time. He avoided injury for the most part. He put up a very significant amount of numbers, okay?
Right.
And it takes nothing away from that. But the results are questionable. So you can celebrate the stats, but not absolve him for the responsibility of the record.
Right.
The same thing you could flip to Jim. Yes, he's a Super Bowl MVP. Yes, he won a Super Bowl 2 times for the Raiders. Was he the greatest quarterback in certain moments? No. He threw a lot of interceptions. There's a reason he's not in the Hall of Fame, and he's a 2-time Super Bowl winning championship. His stats suck. Does that mean that he was a terrible quarterback? No. So you can acknowledge 2 things. That yes, he was great in those games and in those seasons to get us to the Super Bowl. And yes, he had great defenses. Yes, he had Hall of Famers around him. Those things are undisputed. But it still makes his stats. And that, again, that's why he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So we can acknowledge both things simultaneously. And that's the thing that blows my mind.
Right.
Is that, and listen, Kenny Stabler's my all-time favorite player. He threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns in his career. But when did he throw touchdowns? And I think that that's where, again, talking about in comparison to Derek, Kenny made plays in the biggest of games at the most crucial, critical times.
Right.
That's not been a hallmark of Derek's career. So we can acknowledge that Kenny has bad stats, but then we can also acknowledge how clutch and amazing he was when the biggest things were on the line. So that's all we're getting at. And I guess I'm about done with Derek. I mean, again, not done, just done in terms of...
Done for now.
Done for now in terms of conversation around his time with the Raiders. It's time to move forward. Let's all freaking, again, remember, we're all pulling the same rope. We're all rooting for the same team. We're all wearing silver and black. We all want the same stuff.
Right.
And at this point, whether we like it or not, whether you think that he was treated fairly or not, none of that stuff matters. It's time to move on. And so, Jeff, if you had to pick where we go next, give me your 3, not even necessarily in a row, but pick me 3 scenarios that you think are most likely going to be for the Raiders this offseason.
As far as the quarterback position?
Yeah, like how it's going to go. Because, okay, so here's the bottom line. The Raiders want to trade Derek Carr. But...
Ain't going to happen.
I don't think so either. He's got a $40 million price tag. And that $40 million kicks in as of February, I think it's 17th. It's 3 days after the Super Bowl. 15th, okay.
It's 15.
So, if his money kicks in, the Raiders are on the books for him. Well, they're going to get rid of him
at that date.
Before then. Yeah, before then. So that means you have to find a trade partner that's willing to commit to Derek prior to there. But you can't trade him until the new league season starts. So there's a gap in there of about a month. Okay, so what if the team backs out of the deal? The Raiders are screwed. So you're only going to trade with somebody that you can really trust. Maybe like a Patriots kind of thing, because, Bill's not going to screw over Josh, per se, or something like that. There has to be somebody in there that really you can trust.
Yeah, maybe even a Mike Vrabel kind of guy that comes from that system.
There you go.
Stuff like that.
Something like that. Somebody that you can really trust. But can you trust the Jets? Can you trust the Colts? I don't know. No. But then also, you got to remember, too, Derek Carr has trade value. There's no disputing that. But that amount of money that's on his contract, then a team's going to have to rework a deal and make an extension. That's a really big swing for a team to make that call before free agency and before the draft. So you're expecting a team to basically go all in on Derek Carr, much like the way that the Broncos went all in on freaking Russ.
Well,
Is there going to be somebody willing to do that? I don't think so. I think he gets cut.
You hit the nail on the head right there, because, I think this Russell Wilson experience, and we talk a lot of mess about Russell Wilson and all that stuff. He's going to bounce back. He's still a decent quarterback. I mean, I don't think he'll have maybe he will, I don't know, but I don't imagine him having like 3 or 4 bad seasons like this in a row.
Yeah,
he's gonna show
especially if they get
like
Sean
that.
Payton.
Well, there you go.
You get somebody designing offense around him.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think teams are probably going to be a little more like hesitant on bringing in big contracts like that when it's not been proven. Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl, whether it was his. He was a part of it or not. He's still a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
He got that on his resume.
He's got it on his resume. Yeah. So, and Derek doesn't. Derek Carr has played in 1 playoff game, and he threw a pick at the goal line. Are you willing to bring someone in and, immediately pay him $35 million? I don't think so. So, I don't really see a scenario where we find a trade partner unless it is like that. But even still, with a guy like Belichick, I don't know if I trust it. I still don't know if I would trust someone to go, you know what, actually, we're going to stick with what we got. Unless you get some sort of contract, and I don't know if you can do that, saying, yes, I will trade for this person on this day.
I don't think you can, because it's the league year.
It's league matters and stuff like that, and you can't mess with that until the league year starts. So I don't imagine that happening. I imagine they're just going to cut their losses. They're gonna shop them between now and the Super Bowl. They're gonna reach out to teams that aren't in the playoffs, stuff like that. Hey, are you interested? Would you be interested in making a trade? And if there's a sure thing, then yeah, you make a move. But these people that are calling for, he's gonna get a 1st round pick. He's gonna get this. No, he's not. No, he's not. We might get a 3rd, or we might get a 4th, or something like that.
Yeah.
But at this point, we got a lot of draft capital already. Just cut your losses. Be done.
That's what
Let him go shopping.
Yeah.
Let him go pick and choose his team.
Yep.
And just move on. So, so moving forward past Derek. So your question was, what do you think we do?
Yeah, give me 3 scenarios. So you got, and there's a lot to choose from. So let's and the reason we got into all that, under the assumption he's just going to get flat out released.
Sure.
Okay? Under that assumption, we're not going to trade him for somebody. We're not going to even trade him for draft capital. We're just got time to move on with exactly what we have as of right now.
Right. I still think most likely, I think we land TB12. I think we land Tom Brady. It's going to be, I can't imagine what it's going to be like, when they, if that's the pick, and if you sign him, you think Raider Twitter is crazy now? Imagine what it's going to be so cut in half,
Yeah, you think people are divided on Derek Carr?
Right.
I know y'all are having discussions about Tom Brady, man.
Right.
Sheesh.
Right. People are already arguing about it now, in the hypothetical. So if it's not TB12, if he wins a Super Bowl this year and decides to retire, because if he goes all the way, he's done. Oh, if he wins a Super Bowl,
you're talking about this year with the Bucs?
With the Bucs, he's done.
I don't think there's a chance of that.
Well, I don't think there's a chance of that either. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's Tom Brady.
Still friggin' Tom Brady.
If he goes on a run, if the team goes on a run, the Bucs win a Super Bowl, he wins his 8th Super Bowl ring. That dude's going to the house. He's retiring. He might come move to Las Vegas, but he ain't gonna play for the Raiders. So if that happens and Tom Brady decides to retire, stay with the Bucs, whatever, then I think it's Jimmy G. I think you bring in a guy like that also knows the system, stuff like that, and then you draft either way, we're drafting a quarterback in the later part of the draft. I don't see a scenario where we just go, well, we got Stidham as our second place guy, and we'll just see what happens. I think you draft a guy like a Hendon Hooker, like someone like that. I don't see us trading up to get a guy.
Oh, go get C.J. Stroud or something like that?
Well, C.J. Stroud will be there at 7. We won't have to trade up to get him. I think C.J. Stroud is there, and I think the Raiders pass on him.
Whoa.
Because I don't know, man. The Ohio State quarterbacks and stuff, really any player from Ohio State, I'm really not about. Especially if he's got red tips in his hair. But But I just don't see that happening. I'd rather them wait and get a guy later in the draft, a Hendon Hooker, whoever. I know we talk about Hendon Hooker, but we're from Tennessee, so I've seen a lot of Hendon Hooker highlights, and they're good. So
dude's got a freaking rifle.
The dude's got a rifle, man. He's really
such a big arm.
He's really
like
good.
Josh Allen, man. Dude,
he's really good. But just a group of 5 or a group of 5 guy late in the draft.
Yeah.
And I think next week we're going to have QB Jeff on the show.
Yes.
So we'll get his take on some of those, because I don't know those people the way that Jeff Murphy does.
No.
And so,
and you think about how many great group of 5 quarterbacks are out there playing right now. Speaking of Josh Allen,
right?
He came from Wyoming.
You
know what I mean? So there's a lot of great players. But interesting, just a little tag on the Hendon Hooker thing. Here's what's interesting about the scenario with Hendon, and because we've heard from people, man, you guys are really selling Hendon Hooker. Well, yeah, he's great. I mean, just go watch his YouTube highlights from this season. I mean, the guy's phenomenal. Not only has he got a monster arm, but he can move. Like, he's not afraid to take a hit. Like, dude is a baller. The thing about him is that he's older, right? And he's got an ACL.
And he's hurt.
So it's very likely this next season he won't even see the field. So it's a perfect scenario for a team like the Raiders to draft him in the 5th round or something. Mm-hmm. And you have a Tom Brady leading your team. Jarrett Stidham is your backup quarterback. Hendon Hooker can take the year to heal. And then he's ready to go after Tom Brady plays his 1 year or whatever, the bridge year or whatever. Right. So there's a lot of timing that makes sense on that. And then, he's ready to go. He's in his 2nd year. He's had 2 years now in the system. Yeah, he'd be 26, but is it really that old nowadays when quarterbacks are playing into their 40s? For crying out loud. I mean, they used to be the drop-off number was 37. I'll never forget it. It was like Montana, Marino, like all that, Elway, like all the greats started dropping off when they turned 37. But now it's more like 39. How old's Rodgers? Is he 39?
Yeah, he's 39.
And he had an okay year. But I
don't think it had anything to do with his ability to play the game. I just
that's
think
true.
The
Packers
were just kind of a mess.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
but point being, it seems like players are falling off later at quarterback. So if Hendon Hooker's 26 when he takes a starting job or competes for one,
he's got 13 years to play.
13 years still left in the league. That's a long run, you guys. So I don't think his age is going to be as big of a detractor as maybe what some make it out. Does it a detractor to take him in the 1st round? Well, sure. Even if he was totally healthy, because he's going to be 26, maybe you wouldn't pull him in the 1st round.
Right.
But, dude, I mean,
we kind of started talking about that before he even got hurt. That
that he was going to be a 3rd or 4th.
Like
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then and your wild card to see a bunch of people talking about it. Maybe Lamar Jackson. I don't imagine that happening either. But
the Ravens are fools if they let him get out the door. I mean, for real. Like it is a wild card, and I think there's a real small chance that it happens. But dude, how badass would that be? Get Lamar Jackson in a freaking Raider jersey, man. That would
playing Patrick Mahomes 2 times a year.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Give me
we
chills.
We wouldn't have to worry about getting flexed out of Sunday Night Football.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, that'd be exciting. Good one. I like it, Swaggo. I think that scenario, to me, like the ones that make the most sense, anybody that's played and had success under Josh McDaniel's system, he really likes his guys, and we've seen a lot of to a lot of Raider fans, dismay. We fill our roster with Patriots, and there's 3 of them out there: Tom Brady, Jarrett Stidham, who's already on the roster. You got Mac Jones, and then, or I guess 4, and then Jimmy Garoppolo. And it would not surprise me to see some sort of combination of those 2 of those 4 guys. You could even toss in Jacoby Brissett as being in the mix. I don't know if he's in the mix as a starter for us, but maybe that's somebody they bring in camp, maybe to compete with Jarrett Stidham for a backup job or something. You know what I mean?
Why not?
So I think that's where the direction is going to go, certainly for sure. And then, and I see a lot of talk about, the Raiders waiting to really make a move in the draft for Caleb Williams next year. But what kind of freaking record are we going to have to be able to get Caleb Williams? Like,
right. Well,
I ain't trying to have us have another top 10 pick here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that would have to be probably a scenario where, that's one of those where you're gonna have to trade a bunch of draft picks.
You just trade.
You just have to trade up to go
trade
get a
up
guy
to go
like
get
that.
him, yeah.
But you know,
you have to sell out for him. But are we in a position? We're going to be in a position by next year where our roster is healthy enough to where we can sacrifice all that draft capital to sell out to go get Caleb Williams. I don't think so, man. I think we're still 2 full drafts away from turning this thing into a full-on championship roster because, you know, like you get your highlights and you get your flashy players in that top 1, maybe 2 rounds. It's where you get Khalil Mack and Derek Carr or whatever. But you build your roster, you build your championships 3 through 7.
Yeah.
Like, look what the freaking Niners are doing right now with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
You know, the Niners are not contending for a championship if they pulled some chump in round 7. That guy's a 7th round pick.
Mr. Irrelevant.
The last pick in the draft.
Of the draft.
And that's why they're going to be in a position to compete for a championship. So that's where you win that's where you win. It's not Trey Lance, right? And that was their flashy pick. So anyways, point being, I don't think the Raiders are going to be in a position where they can trade all that capital away and then go freaking get a guy like that. I just don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit. We had a lot to get off our chest.
I guess so, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, and so we haven't done a show since. So much respect to the folks at Music City Raider Nation. So we did a watch party last week of the season. The Chiefs game, Bam and all their good friends came out. So much respect to Music City Raider Nation. The game sucked, but the company was good. The company was good. We all got to enjoy some food. Much respect to King Louie, King Louie came in clutch with some tacos and some burritos and all that stuff. Killer food.
Yep.
Killer food. So, you know, and then obviously, you know, sucking down the cold ones and stuff like that. It was a great time.
There might have been some adult beverages flowing.
There might have been a couple. A lot of tears in those adult beverages. Hey, yeah, absolutely.
I think we rooted for one play. I think there was one play during the game where we were like, yeah!
And it was a punt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was when A.J. Cole pinned the Chiefs at the 2 or whatever it was. So,
hey, tell them about merch.
So, so if you want to rep Raiders Fan Radio, you go to our website, RaidersFanRadio.com/gear, click the t-shirt link, and you can get all sorts of good stuff. So we've actually got a little merch drop going on right now. So if you look to my buddy to my left right here, we've got a really cool shirt, and so we are proud to be able to present that today. So check it out. Oh, so good, dude. So if you like cold ones like we just said, and you like Raiders Fan Radio, we got the shirt for you, man. So RaidersFanRadio.com/gear. Get your hands on our new I don't even know what I named that shirt on there.
I don't know.
Whatever it is.
Another shirt design we stole from Bussin' with the Boys.
I think that might be what I called it. So get your hands on that. We also released we released a new Michelle shirt, a new swag shirt, all that stuff. So get your hands on that stuff. They're doing a sale. They do sales seems like every other day. They got a sale going on, 35% off. So you get a t-shirt for like $13. So you can't beat that. You get stickers, you can get a purse, you can get a flag, you can get, art, you can get
a laptop
COVID
case,
mask, you can get the laptop case, you get coffee mugs, the whole deal, man. So get your hands on all that stuff for sure, because it all goes to the One Nation Foundation. So the One Nation Foundation, a couple years ago, we realized we can make money doing this show, so we decided to start a nonprofit and give every bit of that away. So we presented a check. If you're new to the show, we presented a check for $10,000 to the Bolitnikoff Foundation in December. So our goal this year, are we going to go ahead and drop the goal?
We've doubled it twice.
We've doubled it twice.
Actually, we more than doubled. We went from 2 to 4 to 8. No, we went from, hold on.
We went,
2 to 4, and then our goal was to double 4 to get to 8. We got to 10.
We got to 10.
Doubling 10 to get to 20 is a big
number. So we're gonna shoot for right in the middle there. We're gonna shoot this year. We want to present a check to the Bolitnikoffs this year for $15,000. So any way you can help with that, whether it be monetary donations, whether it be buying the merch, doing all that stuff. The Summer of Swag will probably be a little bit longer this year.
But we got some
we
cool
got some cool items. So we're of course we'll always have some jerseys to auction off, to raffle off, stuff like that. But we've got 2 footballs that we got signed at the Bolitnikoff event in December, and it's got all 3 Super Bowl MVPs on it. You got Freddie B, you got Jim Plunkett, and you got Marcus Allen. And then we've also got Lincoln Kennedy. We've got George Atkinson on there. We've got freaking Shooter McGavin is on there. We've got all that stuff.
Greg Townsend, all-time sack leader for the Raiders,
right there. Absolutely. So we got plenty of signatures on that. We've got 2 of those balls, and we would love to get $2,500 for those balls.
Yeah, and here too, by the way, Raider Nation, Swago has dug into the process of getting them JSA certified.
Yes, they will be JSA certified.
So they will be JSA certified. So even though, we have pictures of these guys signing them for us at our table, but we're going to get them certified anyways, in case somebody that's outside scope of Raiders Fan Radio wants to bid on them. And listen, we're going to do it. The first one, we're just going to do it straight auction style. Like, we're not going to do it on a raffle on the show or anything like that. We're going to set a minimum on those things, because anything that gets signed by all 3 Super Bowl MVPs is pretty much $2,000. So we're going to set a minimum on this thing at $2,500 a ball. So if you're so inclined and you want that thing bad enough, make us an offer more than $2,500, and whoever comes in at the highest, it's all yours. We'll send it right to you.
Right.
Outside of that, we'll probably do that with the first one, and then maybe depending on the response that we get on the first one, we might do that a second time, or we'll do it raffle style.
Yeah.
That way anybody's got a shot to get it. But still, we got to set that minimum of $2,500. So it's going to be a challenge for us on the raffle, but we'll figure it all out. But anyways, if you like it, if you have an idea about it, follow us on our socials. Jeff's got pictures of them. We're going to be putting out there, so you can take a look at it. If it's something that you want to bid on, please let us know. And again, 100% of that money goes to the One Nation Foundation, goes to our nonprofit, and and that's going to Raiders-related charities, in particular the Bolitnikoff Foundation, that's helping young women get out of risk of domestic violence and substance abuse. So it's going to a great cause. So thank you for all of you that supported us last year and will help us get to that 15,000 this year.
Absolutely. And and thanks to you guys, because we love our sponsors. We love all the people that helped us last year. We're working on some more this year, and we couldn't do that without showing them what you guys did. Because all that, yes, we had some cool sponsorships and stuff like that, but still primarily it came from you, Raider Nation. It came from the generous donations, the raffles that we did all summer long and into the fall,
the merch
and all
sales.
that stuff, merch sales, all that kind of stuff. So we couldn't do that without you. And so the opportunity for us to potentially get some new sponsors is all because of you. And so that $15,000 will be a lot more attainable if we get, one big sponsor that jumps in. And so, and then, 2024, we'll be at 25. We just want to keep this thing growing, man, because it's all going to a great cause, going to the Bolitnikoffs, going to different Raider-related charities. So much respect to each and every one of you. And, I don't know, man, it's really cool, and it's humbling, when you look back at when we started this thing, a $2,000 donation, which is no joke. For just a dopey podcast that we do back in 2019, we raised $2,000 and gave it to the Bolitnikoffs. And to see them grow, and for them to see us grow, and, just build this partnership and, all this stuff, it's just really, really cool, and I think we said it on last week's show or a couple weeks ago. There was only 2 people that donated $10,000 that night, and it was us and it was Marcus Allen. So us and a Super Bowl MVP. So, pretty good company there, and that's all because of you. So much respect.
Absolutely. So thank you all very much. We love you, Raider Nation. And hey, by the way, I was joking about another shirt design we stole from Bussin' with the Boys, but they stole it from Budweiser. So turnabout's fair play. And, and there are guys. They know we're just kind of doing it to mess with them a little bit. But it's all going to a good cause. So please jump in there and get that new shirt. RaidersFanRadio.com/gear. Love you, Raider Nation. Thanks for hanging in here, man, for 39 minutes and listening to us, 2 idiots, while we're driving down the road, missing our exits. I don't even know where the hell we are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to get off at this one and turn around. But anyway, so appreciate you, Raider Nation, for hanging there with us. We love you guys, and we'll see you this Wednesday live, back for another episode of Raiders Fan Radio. You're going to get us 2 knuckleheads. Then, of course, Michelle will be there, and you're going to get QB Jeff, who's going to drop some killer knowledge on you. Not only do we want to hear his take on the Derek Carr thing, because we haven't heard his take yet, but as a group of 5 expert, we're going to hear him break down some of the potential QBs for the Raiders to draft coming up in this season, and maybe even seasons to come. So if we don't address it this year immediately. So anyways, Raider Nation, we love you guys. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Peace.
Press the damn button, nerd.